Okay, so for the first one, 3 meters into feet. What'd you get? What's that? 36 feet? Something's a little off there.
9.24.
9.24 sounds better. We don't have a direct relationship from meters to feet given. Yep, you were doing inches, what you were thinking. But I might do 3 meters. 1 meter is 39.37 inches. So the meters cross cancel. We have 3 times 39.37. Is 118.11 inches. Then we convert that into feet. So 12 inches is 1 foot. So the inches cancel out. We're going to divide by 12. So you get 9.84 feet. How many of you had that? 84. Inches into centimeters is a little bit easier because we do have a direct relationship from inches to centimeters. 1 inch is 2.54 centimeters. So inches cancel out, and this is just 8 times 2.54, which is 20.32 centimeters. How many did that one? Questions? You get confused, Josh.
I don't know if I did it or what I was thinking or what.
Okay. How many of you are using this conversion factor like this? A few of you? If not, remember, the biggest thing you got to remember is the units from inches to centimeters, the units are getting smaller, so the number has to get bigger. Somebody multiplying by something instead of dividing. Here, when I went from meters to inches, the units were getting smaller, the number had to get bigger. I was multiplying. But to go from inches to feet, the units are getting bigger, the number has to get smaller, so I had to divide. So down here, millimeters to inches. Well, we don't have a direct relationship between millimeters and inches, but I do from centimeters to inches. So I'm going to convert my 74 millimeters into centimeters. 7.4 centimeters. So now I'm going to put that over 1. Centimeters on bottom, inches on top. 1 inch is 2.54 centimeters. Centimeters cancel out. Now from centimeters to inches, the units are getting bigger, the number has to get smaller, so it does make sense that I'm going to divide. 7.4 divided by 2.54 is going to give us 2.91 inches. .48 centimeters into feet. Well, I can put 48 centimeters into inches easy enough. 1 inch is 2.54 centimeters again. So 48 divided by 2.54 gives us 18.897 inches. Well, I don't really want to convert it into 7/8 because I'm going to convert it into feet. So I don't want to put it into, I want to keep it as exact as I can. So now, of course, from inches to feet, I'm going to divide by 12. 1.575 feet. Or 1.58, I guess we've been rounding to 2 decimal places. Any questions?
I get the math, I'm just like...
Trying to remember the conversion factors?
I got the 18 and that's right.
Yeah, because we have 18.897 inches. Actually, each book has a different chart. Your big book, I think it's like page 897 or something like that. Let me take a peek here.
Page 897. Your big book. All those charts.
Oh, sure, yeah. It's not 897.
No, it can't be. It'll shorten pages. That's for somewhere.
Not,
No, it's definitely. It's 829.
Is it 829 now?
329.
Yeah, so
Write that down.
There it is. 829 and 830
There we go.
is conversion factors for everything.
Go 3 months.
Yeah, I think it was 797 in the old book is what I was thinking. So yeah, page 829 and 830 in your book has all the conversion factors you could probably ever want. Page 829 and 830. Okay, so when we go, we can convert our operations like this, and the key is to use these conversion factors. If you know that relationship between the two measurements, you can always set up that conversion factor. And you put the unit on bottom here that we're trying to get rid of so that they'll cross cancel with our fractions, and they're gone. And this here, this conversion fraction that we're using is called a unity fraction, because it is equal to 1. Even though it doesn't look like it, 1 inch and 2.54 centimeters is the same length. So they are equal, they're equivalent. And so that is equal to 1. So we're changing the appearance of the number, just not the actual value of it. It's still the same length, we're just using different units, so it looks different. So our next step is to do some operations with these units. Like, let's say I have 8 feet, 3 inches, plus 5 feet, 8 inches. When I do operations with these units, it works just like our operations with whole numbers. We start on the right and work our way back to the left, just like we would with whole numbers. So we're going to add 3 inches and 8 inches, make 11 inches. Do I have to carry a 1? No, because our place values are no longer tens anymore. With feet and inches, of course, that place value I don't carry until I hit 12. 5 feet or 8 feet and 5 feet, then make 13 feet. I can run into something like this. 9 feet, 7 inches, plus 3 feet, 11 inches. I go to add 7 feet, or 7 inches and 11 inches make 18 inches. But that is how many feet and how many inches? 1 foot, 6 inches. If you're having a hard time doing that, there's 12 inches in a foot, so you can think of that as 18 twelfths. And reduce it like that. That's 1 6/12. So you keep the 6 inches, carry the 1 foot. 1 and 9 is 10, plus 3 is 13 feet. So we can carry with measurements just like we would with whole numbers. Now it depends on what the measurement is, because we might have 5 yards and 2 feet plus 3 yards and 2 feet. 2 feet plus 2 feet is 4 feet, which of course is 1 yard and 1 foot. Yep. So keep the yard, or keep the foot. We keep the 1 foot and we carry the yard. 1 and 5 is 6, plus 3 is 9 yards, 1 foot. Or we might have 2 rods, 4 yards, 5 rods and 3 yards. This one's a little bit trickier. 4 yards and 3 yards make 7 yards. How many yards does it take to make a rod? 5.5. So this is 1 rod with 1.5 yards left over, right? Take out 5 and 5.5. So there's 1.5 yards. Carry the rod. 1 and 2 is 3, plus 5 is 8 rods. I won't do that to you very often. When we go to subtract, we can run into 7 feet, 8 inches, minus 2 feet, 5 inches. Just like with whole numbers, we start on the right, work our way back to the left. 8 feet minus, or 8 inches minus 5 inches is 3 inches. 7 feet minus 2 feet, 5 feet. Well, just like with adding, we can run into things like this. 9 feet 2 inches minus 6 feet 9 inches. We go to subtract 2 inches minus 9 inches, can't be done. So we have to borrow. We borrow from the 9, that becomes 8 feet. What's this become? 14, good. I add 12 inches because I borrowed a full foot. So that's now 14 inches. 14 minus 9 is 5 inches. 8 feet minus 6 feet is 2 feet. And again, we can end up with other units that we use. We have 5 yards, 1 foot, minus 3 yards, 2 feet. Again, I can't do 1 foot minus 2 feet, so I borrow. This becomes 4 yards, and this becomes 4 feet. I add 3 feet, because the 1 yard contains 3 feet. So 4 feet minus 2 feet is 2 feet. 4 yards minus 3 yards is 1 yard. So 1 yard, 2 feet. Or I might have 7 rods, 2.5 yards minus 2 rods, 5 yards. I go to subtract. 2.5 minus 5 can't be done, so I'm going to borrow from the 7. That's now 6 rods. 1 rod contains how many yards? 5.5. So add 5.5 there gives me 8 yards. 8 minus 5, 3 yards. 6 minus 2, 4 rods. Okay. What about when we multiply? Well, when we multiply, when we added or subtracted, we had to add a measurement to another measurement, because when we add or subtract, you must have the same name. When we multiply, we don't have to multiply a measurement by another measurement, because we don't need the same name to multiply. So when we multiply, most of the time we're going to be multiplying one measurement times what's called a scalar. By scalar, I mean just a counting number, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever. It doesn't have any units attached to it because it's not a measurement, which means it's exact. How many significant digits does a counting number have? Well, significant digits doesn't apply because it's not a measurement. Significant digits apply to a measurement. So a counting number is exact. So since it's exact, it's assumed to have an infinite number of significant digits. It's assumed to have an infinite precision and infinite accuracy because it's exact. There is no possible error in it. You counted stuff. You know, if I go around the room and I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 students, there's 8 students. It's not between 7.9 and 8.1 students. It's 8 students. So there is no possible error in it because it's counting, not measured. Now, we sometimes question if there's full students in some days, but that's a different story. So we multiply here. That 4 is exactly a 4. So I'm going to multiply just like I would any other number. I'm going to start on the right, work my back left. So 4 times 8 inches is 32 inches, which splits up into how many feet? 2 feet, which would be 24 inches. So there's 8 inches left over. So I'm going to keep the 8 inches and carry the 2 feet. 4 times 3 feet is 12 feet. Plus 2 is 14 feet. So 14 feet, 8 inches. So I might do something like this. 6 times 3.5 inches. 21 inches. What's that split up into? 1 foot. 9 inches. Good. So 9 inches, carry my 1 foot. Anybody have questions as to where that comes from? I know there's 12 inches in a foot, so I take out 12 inches. That leaves me with 9, so that's 1 foot and 9 inches. Here I took out 12 inches. That was 20, so I take out 12 again to get down to 8, so that's 2 feet, since I could take out the 12 twice. So now 6 times 7 is 42 plus 1 is 43 feet. And of course, we can run into 5 yards, 2 feet times 5. What is 5 times 2 feet? 5 times 2 feet is 10 feet. 3 comes out of there 3 times, so it's 3 yards with how many feet left over? 1 foot left over. So I'm going to keep the 1 foot, carry the 3 yards. 5 times 5 yards is 25 yards, plus 3 is 28 yards. I might have 2 rods, 4 yards, times 6. What's 6 times 4? 24 yards. How many rods can I get out of that? 4 times 5.5 would be 22, right? So that means there'd be 2 yards left over. So I'll keep the 2 yards and carry 4 rods. 6 times 2 is 12. Plus 4 is 16 rods. I'm going to have you guys try a couple of these in your notes. Seven feet, 11 inches times 8, and 4 rods, 4 yards times 7. So 8 times 11 is 88 inches. How many feet can go out of there? 8 times 12 is 84, so it'd be 7 feet. 4 inches left over. So 4 inches, carry the 7 feet. 8 times 7 is 56, plus 7 is 63 feet. 63 feet, 4 inches. Now again, we had the 88 inches. If you're struggling to convert that, think of this as 88 over 12. And you're not going to reduce it, but you can change it into a mixed number. 88 goes into 12 7 times with 4 left over. So that's 7 and 4 12s. So that's where you get the 7 feet, 4 inches. Over here, we've got 7 times 4 yards is 28 yards. Now this one's a little uglier because it's 5.5. But 5.5 goes in there 5 times. That's going to be 5 rods. 5 times 5.5 is 27.5. So there's 1/2 or 0.5 yards left. So you leave it as 0.5 yards. Yep. Carry the 5 rods. 7 times 4 is 28, plus 5 is 33 rods. So 33 rods and 1/2 a yard. Or you'd have this
Try to change that to
feet or inches or
half a yard.
1/2 a yard is fine. Yeah, that's the same thing.
How do you want it expressed? Does it make a
0.5, 1/2, it don't matter. They're equivalent. It all depends, like if you're on the job, it depends on what measuring device you use. For CNC, 0.5 is usually what's going to read out on most of your equipment, but you're not going to be dealing with yards in CNC. So I'm on a construction site, you're going to be dealing with mostly fractions because that's the way most equipment on a construction site reads out. If you're going to convert it to feet, of course, that's 1.5 feet. Or 18 inches, or would you go down to a unit until you didn't have a fraction anymore, or what'd you do?
I was saying 1/2 yard, but I thought that would be wrong.
Okay. It does seem unusual that part of the whole point is to avoid fractions and decimals, and there we had no choice. Yeah, one of the main reasons of using the dual unit is so you don't have fractions. Otherwise, we just report this as 63 1/3 feet, or 63 4/12 of a foot, however you want to do that, and get rid of the dual units. And that is one of the things that's really kind of sticky about standard measurement. The standard measurement does use that dual unit system. The metric system does not do that. In the metric system, you will never see 8 meters and 24 centimeters. It's always 8.24 meters or 824 centimeters. There's never this dual unit of 7 feet 3 inches or anything like that. So that simplifies our operation. The rods? Yeah, because we had 7. Come on. 7 times 4 rods is, or 7 times 4 yards is 28 yards. We have to divide that by 5.5. 28 divided by 5.5. If we divide it on the calculator, it's going to be like 5.09. Right? So that's our 5 rods. 5 times 5.5 is 27.5. So that means we just took out 27.5, 27 and a half of those yards out of the 28. So there's half a yard left. So we keep the half a yard, then we're going to carry the 5 rods. 7 times 4 is 28, plus 5 is 33 rods. So next we're going to divide. Let's say I have something like 17 feet, 8 inches. I divide it in 4 equal pieces. Some people would just go ahead and convert this all into inches, divide it and convert it back. And if that's the way you like to do it, that's fine. But you can do it in dual units. Remember, division is the one operation that starts at the left side, the beginning of the number, and works our way through it. So 4 goes into 17 4 times. That's 4 feet. 4 feet times 4 is 16 feet. So we just took out 16 feet, leaving us with 1 foot. Now, the little bit of a twist with our division, with measurement, before we bring down the 8 inches, I have to convert this 1 foot into 12 inches. Now I bring down the 8 inches. 8 and 12 make 20 inches. And I'll divide by the 4. 20 divided by 4 is 5 inches. So I might have something like 21 feet 6 inches divided by 5. 5 goes into 21 4 times. It's 4 feet. 4 times 5 is 20 feet. I have 1 foot left over. What do I have to do next? Convert my 1 foot into 12 inches. Bring down my 6 inches so I have 18 inches. And now this seems a little awkward. 18 divided by 5 is 3 3/5. How did I get 3 3/5? Remember, division and a fraction are different ways of writing the same problem. You can jump back and forth. So instead of doing 18 divided by 5, I just did 18 over 5. And if I reduce that to a mixed number, that's 3 3/5. So 3 3/5 inches. We'll do some more examples there.
So, if you did 21 times 12, and then added 6, and then divided that by 5,
You would
divide that by 12 again.
Yeah, if you divided that by 5, you would end up with what? 51 3/5 inches. Then you'd have to take out your feet again. Your 12 would come out of there 4 times with 3 3/5 left over. So let's say I got 27 feet, 5 inches, divided by 6. 6 goes into 28, how many times? 4, that's 4 feet. 4 feet times 6 is 24 feet. We have 4 feet left over. Then what do I do? So 4 feet is 48 inches. Now I can bring down my 5. 5 and 48 make 53 inches. 53 divided by 6 is 8. And 5/6 inches. 53 over 6. 6 goes in there 8 times. That'd be 48. There's 5 left over. What do you think? Good stuff? So you have 7 yards and 2 feet divided by 5. 5 goes into 7 yards once. It's 1 yard. 1 yard times 5 is 5 yards. We subtract. That's 2 yards. The 2 yards converts into how many feet? 6 feet. I bring down my 2 feet. Now 8 feet. 8 feet divided by 5. 1 3/5 feet. Now, I mentioned that when we multiply or divide, we don't have to have the same name. But remember, also when we multiply or divide, we do combine the names. So far, I did my multiplication division by a scalar, a counting number with no units on it. What if I had units? What if I had 7 feet, 3 inches, times 4 feet, 6 inches? Well, this 6 inches can multiply those 3 inches, but remember, when we multiply, we don't need the same name. Every digit of one number combines with every digit of the other number. This 6 inches can also combine with that 7 feet. Well, feet times inches would be foot inches. It actually is a unit. It's a unit that's 1 foot long and 1 inch wide. But we don't use it anymore. So it's kind of confusing if we end up with it in our answer. So we kind of want to avoid that. So what we do when we're going to multiply or divide with units like this, if they're in dual units, we convert it. So I can either convert this to all feet or all inches. If I want to convert it to all feet, that's 7 3/12 feet. Notice I just put the inches over 3 to make it a fraction. That'll reduce to 7 1/4 feet. This down here is 4 6/12 feet. Of course, that 6/12 reduces to 1/2. So 7 1/4 times 4 1/2. I get 32 5/8. Now, we also multiply the names, feet times feet or feet squared. Bless you. On the other side, I can convert them all to inches. How would I convert these all to inches? Well, what's 7 times 12? 84. Plus 3 is 87 inches. 4 times 12, 48 plus 6 is 54 inches. 87 times 56, or 54, I should say. 4,698 inches squared. So that's if I was going to do a multiplication with my units, I would change either all feet or all inches. Now looking at this, how many inches are in a foot? 12. If I multiply by 12 here, do I get that? No, I definitely don't. 32 5/8 times 12 is like 400, not 4,000. These are square feet and square inches. The conversions are going to change. This is a big mistake I see people make. They get something like, they might get something like 14 square inches. And they want to change it into 1 square foot, 2 square inches. It's not. That does not work. It's not 12 square inches in a square foot anymore because it's square inches and square foot. Those units, those conversion factors will change. So be careful. If we were dividing, and I'm going to keep this simple. 8 feet divided by 4 feet. What am I going to get? Well, 8 divided by 4 is 2. What's my units going to be? Feet divided by feet cancel out. There is no units. Just 2 of something. Basically, what this is saying is if I have an 8-foot piece, how many 4-foot pieces can I get out of it? I can get 2 of them. There's no units on that. If I had 8 feet divided by 4, 8 divided by 4 is 2 still. The units are feet because it was feet divided by nothing. This is saying if I have an 8-foot piece and I cut it into 4 pieces, how long is each of them? There's a big difference. Does that make sense? Then there's a third option. 8 square feet divided by 4 feet is going to be, what's 8 divided by 4 is still 2. Square feet divided by feet is feet. What that would be is if I have something that's 8 square feet in the area, if it's 4 feet long, how wide does it have to be? 4 feet long, it would be 2 feet wide to give you 8 times 4 times 2 is 8 square feet. What's that? No, the squared is the units. It has nothing to do with the number. And that's another big mistake people make. They see that squared and they want to square the number. No, that squared is a unit. It's not part of the number. It's not squaring the number. That's just saying that's not linear feet. That's square feet. That's area. Any other questions? We'll talk more about this later. For now, I'm going to give you guys some homework. In the big book, it is page 245 through 247. Exercise 8-4. I think it's like 1 through 9. The odd. In the little book, unit 29, the odd. This is actually in the little book. Yep. We will come back to that packet yet, though, so don't get rid of it quite yet.